The Dream of the Rood is an Old English poem written by an unknown author, likely composed between the 7th and 8th centuries. It is one of the earliest Christian poems in English literature and reflects the blending of pagan traditions with Christian themes during the Anglo-Saxon period. The poem is unique because it is narrated partly from the perspective of the cross, the rood, on which Jesus Christ was crucified. In the story, a dreamer envisions the cross speaking to him, describing its role in the crucifixion and its transformation from an instrument of suffering into a symbol of triumph and salvation. The poem explores themes of sacrifice, redemption, and the power of faith. It also reflects the values of loyalty, bravery, and honor that were important in Anglo-Saxon culture, showing how these ideals align with the Christian message of Christ's sacrifice. Now, let's start the story. There was a man who had a strange and powerful dream. In his dream, he saw a great tree, a cross made of wood. But this was no ordinary cross. It was alive, shining with light, and it spoke to him. The tree told the man its story, how it had once been used for something terrible but had become a symbol of hope and salvation. This is the story of the dreamer and the rood. One night, as the man lay sleeping, he had a dream. He saw a tall tree standing before him. The tree was covered in gold and jewels, and it glowed with a bright light. At first, the man was afraid. He did not understand what he was seeing. But then the tree began to speak, and its voice was kind and strong. "I am the rood," the tree said. "I have a story to tell you. I will show you my past, my pain, and my glory." The man listened carefully, and the tree began to tell its tale. Long ago, the tree had been just an ordinary piece of wood. It grew in a forest, surrounded by other trees. Its branches reached toward the sky, and its roots dug deep into the earth. It was strong and healthy, but it did not know what its purpose would be. One day, men came into the forest. They cut down the tree and shaped it into a cross. The tree did not understand why this was happening. It felt pain as the men worked on it, carving and shaping its body. But it could do nothing to stop them. The tree was taken to a hill called Calvary. There it saw a man being led forward. The man was Jesus Christ, the Son of God. The tree watched as Jesus was nailed to its wood. It felt the weight of his body as he hung there, suffering and dying. The tree wept inside, though it could not cry. It did not want to be part of such a terrible thing. But then something amazing happened. As Jesus died, the tree felt a change. It realized that it was not just a tool of suffering, it was part of something much greater. Through Jesus' death, the tree became a symbol of hope and salvation. It was no longer just a cross, it was the rood, the holy tree that helped bring life to the world. The rood continued to tell its story to the dreamer. "At first I was ashamed," the tree said. "I did not want to be used for such a cruel act, but then I saw the courage of Jesus. He did not fight back. He accepted his fate with grace and strength. He showed me that his death was not the end. It was the beginning of something new. The Rood explained how it had stood on the hill, watching as Jesus suffered. It felt the nails pierce its wood, and it heard the cries of the crowd. But through it all, it saw the love and sacrifice of Jesus. He gave his life for others, the Rood said. And because of him, I was transformed. I became more than just a tree. I became a symbol of his victory over death. After Jesus died, the Rood was taken down and buried. For many years, it lay hidden in the ground, forgotten by the world. But then people found it again. They cleaned it, decorated it with gold and jewels, and placed it in a church. Now it stood tall and proud, a reminder of what Jesus had done. As the man listened to the Rood, he felt a deep sense of awe. He realized that the tree's story was also his own. Like the Rood, he had struggles and pain in his life. But the Rood showed him that suffering could lead to something greater. Through faith and sacrifice, even the hardest moments could become a path to hope and redemption. The Rood spoke to the man about Jesus' resurrection. He rose from the dead, the tree said. He defeated death and opened the way to eternal life. And because of him, we can all find peace. The man thought about his own life. He had faced many challenges, and sometimes he felt lost and alone. But now he understood that he was not alone. Jesus had walked a difficult path too, and he had shown the way to salvation. The man felt a new sense of purpose. He wanted to follow Jesus' example, to live with courage, kindness, and faith. The Rood then showed the man its current form. It was no longer plain wood. It was covered in gold and jewels, shining with divine light. People came from far and wide to see it, to pray before it, and to remember the sacrifice of Jesus. I am honored now, the Rood said, but my true glory comes from what I represent. I am a reminder of Jesus' love and his victory over death. I stand here to tell the world that even in the darkest moments, there is hope. The man looked at the Rood and felt a deep sense of peace. He knew that the tree's story was a message for him, and for everyone. No matter how hard life might seem, there was always a way forward. Through faith and trust in God, even the greatest pain could lead to something beautiful. Finally, the Rood finished its story. Remember what I have told you, it said to the man. Tell others about my journey and about the love of Jesus. Let my story inspire them to live with faith and hope. The man nodded. I will, he promised. I will share your story with everyone I meet. Then the dream ended, and the man woke up. He was lying in his bed, but he felt different. The dream had changed him. He remembered the Rood's words and the lessons it had taught him. He felt stronger, braver, and more hopeful than ever before. The man did not keep the dream to himself. He told everyone he met about the Rood and its story. He described how the tree had once been used for suffering, but had become a symbol of hope and salvation. He spoke about Jesus' sacrifice and his resurrection, and how his love had transformed the world. People listened to the man's words and they were moved. They began to see the cross, not just as a symbol of pain, but as a sign of victory and life. They understood that through faith, they too could overcome their struggles and find peace. The man continued to share the story for the rest of his life. He traveled from village to village, telling people about the Rood and its message. He hoped that by sharing the dream, he could help others find hope and meaning in their own lives. The story of the Rood lived on long after the man was gone. People passed it down from generation to generation, keeping its message alive. The Rood itself remained a symbol of faith and hope, reminding everyone who saw it of Jesus' love and sacrifice. Even today, the story of the Rood continues to inspire people. It teaches us that no matter how dark life may seem, there is always light ahead. Through faith, courage, and love, we can overcome anything. Like the Rood, we can transform our pain into something beautiful and meaningful.